Tom Clark's 6M podcast is a Boink Studios production. And now, on with the show.
Hey, what is up? Welcome to Tom Clark's 6M podcast. I'm your host, Tom Clark, and in this episode, I'm joined by co-host Christopher Ray Patton. If you are of a certain age, then you know all about the Saturday afternoon movie, the Saturday matinee. It's already bringing back memories, kids. I'm flashbacking like crazy right now. That time's gone, been gone for a long time. It's like the idea of Saturday morning cartoons. Now you can watch your cartoons whenever you want to, watch your movies whenever you want to. Who cares what day it is? And look, I'm not the old dude shaking his fist at the sun. I love technology. You can tell, right? I mean, I'm the guy that's worked in tech for a couple of years, and I podcast all the time. I love tech. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan of it. I'm not that guy that's stuck in his ways. But I will say that I do miss some of the nostalgic stuff like the Saturday afternoon movie, Saturday morning cartoons, things like that. We're talking here today about one of those classics, and we talked a little bit off mic before we started here about how this movie was constantly on TV at one point. And, of course, the movie we're doing today is Airplane! Exclamation mark at the end. It's important. Can't forget that. And this movie is a freaking classic. It's been voted by so many different publications and websites as being one of the greatest comedies of all time. There's some risque stuff in it. I've seen it in recent years, and you know, some of these things we review, kids, maybe there's a little bit of tone deafness to it. I don't think there's a lot of tone deafness in this movie. We'll experience it here together, though, folks, because we're going to do this as a movie watch-along. So if you follow the 6M, you know that occasionally we do this, whereas sometimes we'll talk about a movie, and other times we'll watch the movie and record the audio commentary track, which you can watch with the film yourself, and just turn your movie down just a scoosh. You can enjoy our stellar commentary. That's what we're going to do here today. But before we begin, let's do this. Airplane, also called Flying High, didn't know that, is a 1980 American disaster comedy film written and directed by Jim Abrams and brothers David and Jerry Zucker in their directorial debut, and produced by John Davison. It stars Robert Hayes and Julie Haggerty and features Leslie Nielsen. Just see if you can wrap your head around this. If you're of a certain age, the other direction, you may not know any of these people. But for folks my age and older, this is a who's who of what Hollywood used to be, okay? Leslie Nielsen, Robert Stack, Lloyd Bridges, Peter Graves, Lorna Patterson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now, one of these things is not quite like the other, only because one of these things won the NBA championship a few different times. But it'll make sense when we get there, and it wouldn't be the same without him. And it draws from the Paramount film, 1957 Paramount film 0 Hour, from which it borrows the plot, central characters, and some dialogue. It also draws many elements from Airport 1975 and other films in the Airport series. It is known for using surreal humor and fast-paced slapstick comedy, including visual and verbal puns, gags, running jokes, and dark humor. Boy, I'll say. As we said, directed by Jim Abrams. I'm saying Abrams, it could be Abrahams. And also the great Zucker brothers, the legendary Zucker brothers. Running time, 87 minutes, released June 27th, 1980. The budget for this film was $3.5 million, and the box office was $171 million. Not bad for a movie released in 1980, kids. And there is your lowdown on Airplane. Chris, before we started recording here today, you said you've only seen this one time, but you've seen like bits and pieces of it through the years. This is a little bit older than you are, so I can understand you didn't grow up with it. What do you think about this brand of humor, though, man? The slapstick, witty, zany stuff in a movie.
It's a lot of fun. You know, this is a movie that was also quoted to death. So you get a lot of, from what I remember, a lot of it is just around Leslie Nielsen's ability to just be so deadpanned in his delivery is kind of what makes a lot of the jokes work. But yeah, like even before we started this, I was looking up little bits and pieces about the movie just because it's been so long since I saw it. Yeah, the 0 hour thing I didn't know, but basically them just lifting word for word character names and dialogue. That movie must be really bad. And to just take a lot of it and say, okay, we're going to do a parody now.
Hey, look, if you watch this movie and a little bit, if it goes a little bit too far left or right, it's one of those old movies. You know what I mean? Like the way the actors would play it straight face and the dialogue was terrible and the effects were awful, but they're all being serious. I mean, this leans into that, Chris, with the cast. I mean, these guys were, some of them classically trained actors and very serious, but man, suddenly the switch got flipped for a lot of these veteran actors and said, hey, try some comedy. And man, it fit. Like Leslie Nielsen found his niche, man, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, before this, he was like this launched like the Naked Gun series as well, just because of the way he became so beloved after this movie. But before that, he was just known for like serious roles, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of cool to see like that. This is his launching point. I grew up more watching it. Like I know the Naked Gun series really well. This is just one I think I've only seen like once, and then a bunch like in bits and pieces on TBS or TNT. Much like you said, that these used to be the like Airplane and Police Academies. Those used to show up, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday on TBS or TNT quite often growing up. TNN down here,
yes.
At least in Georgia.
Police Academy movies were always on TV. By the way, the Police Academy theme song has been in my head all day, and I haven't seen the movie in years. I guess it's in there because of this. Dun, 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 dun. I have no idea why it's popped in there. I grew up with that too. My God, that first movie is a crazy fun movie. Didn't it make like 12 of them? I'm like, yeah, nah, I don't know. I don't know.
Did you talk about the budget for this film?
Yeah, 3 million, or 3.5 million. Wow,
this got to be one of the most profitable movies of all time.
Got to be.
3.5 million. It made 170 million worldwide.
Isn't that crazy?
I would call that knocking it out of the park.
I would say I can't even. Yeah, and I wonder what 3.5 million is in 1980 money. Probably 30 million, maybe 40 million, perhaps.
Probably something like that. We can figure that out. Let's see. We'll pull up
there's fun inflation calculators on the net that I use quite often just to have a laugh.
Let's see. When did the movie come out? 1980.
Mm-hmm.
And then we want to say 225.
This would be interesting to see.
If I can remember how many zeros are in 3 million.
I can't help you. I've never had to write that in a checkbook before, buddy.
It looks like right now, with accumulated inflation of 287.2%.
Wow.
It would be. This calculator may be wrong, but it looks like about, if you round up, $12 million.
Wow, not as big as I thought it would be. Interesting. Well, listen, when you got 3 million, 12, what's the difference, honestly? For people like us, I don't know what we're talking about. You know what I mean? You might as well just make up numbers. There was a weird meme I saw, not a meme, but this short video of a guy saying, someone explained to me why we don't just say 1E1. It's 22. It's 33. Why is it not 1E1, right? Like, that's not bad. I like that a lot. But, we don't say that. We say 11. But you know what? That's fine.
Boink Studios is the home of Tom Clark's main event, Tom Clark's 6M podcast, and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. Visit the site today for links to every podcast platform, social media, special announcements, and a lot more. Check out the site and bookmark today, boinkstudios.com.
All right, kids. We're going to try not to get too goofy on you here. I'm recovering after a 3-day sickness, so we'll see if I can make it through this without falling asleep. How about that? So, folks, Chris is watching on the Amazon Prime. I am not watching on the Amazon Prime, but we're going to attempt to link up at this point. If you are watching along with us, we are going to drop markers as we go, as we always do. Right now, we both have black screens, but when we hit play, it's going to go from black to the old-fashioned blue and white Paramount logo very quickly, Okay. You're only going to have like a moment of black and then boom, it's off to the races. So if you have anything before that, you may want to pick up your pace, get it to where we are, and then we're going to count you in and be ready to go. All right.
Just quick heads up, it is
Yes.
It is not on Paramount Plus, even though it is a Paramount classic. So you will have to, if you want to watch it on Amazon, I had to purchase it. I think it was like $4 for the Ultra HD.
Look, don't even get me started on how weird these studios and the rights and all that crap is. It is insane. I can't tell how many times we've gone. Well, like today, we've gone to do something and can't find it anywhere. And I've got every streamer that exists and none of them, right? But like you said, weird places and not available other places. By the way, Max just unloaded all the Looney Tunes. They're gone. I'm like, Max is a Warner Brothers company. What are y'all doing? Poof, gone.
I think a lot of that stuff is on Tubi and Pluto, though, right?
I heard that, but like, again,
yeah.
When you think Warner Brothers, you think Bugs Bunny. Come on, man. What are we doing? Anyway, and I'm wearing a Zeppelin t-shirt. Talk about rights and who owns what. They got, music's got it too. All right, folks, we're going to count you down. We're going to do, we don't want to lethal weapon you too much. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. We're going to 1, 2, go on 3. So when I say 1, 2, and when I say 3, I'll say go on 3, and then boom, we're ready. All right, folks, everybody get ready. Get your volume where it needs to be. And remember, you can always pause this if you need to. We can't, but you can, right? So try to follow along. Here we go, kids. 1, 2, go on 3. I've already got the logo on my screen.
Same. I think we hit it perfect.
Hopefully, we shall see. By the way, kids, if you're going to listen to us as you watch the film, turn on your closed captioning. That way that you don't miss any dialogue. We're going to tell you what they say, but you may want to hear it.
Do you remember, like, at the beginning of Paramount films, when you'd rent a movie, it would have, like, this collage put together of other Paramount films you should watch with, like, they would throw, like, Huey Lewis and the News behind it.
That sounds very familiar. By the way, do you like this Jaws opening?
Yes.
very much of his time. Was Jaws in, I want to say Jaws was 77 with Star Wars. Am I wrong or right?
That sounds right. I will find the exact year Jaws for you.
By the way, I love how the font is big and bold and dramatic and harkens to those other airport films. Big.
Jaws would have been 1975. Jaws 2, 1978.
We don't talk about that. But Jaws 1 in 75. I was 2 years ahead. Wow. Look at that busy airport, Chris. You've flown all over the country, man. You've been in the air a heck of a lot more than I have. That's for sure.
Which one is this LA?
Yep. By the way, here's some trivia for you, kids. This white zone and red zone shtick that they have going back and forth is fantastic.
Yes. So I read that this is all ad-libbed between a husband and his wife. Mm-hmm. A lot of the parking stuff is the gag. So this is one of the few things that's not like actually written dialogue. It's just them going back and forth. And
it's the same voice artist that the airport actually used at Los Angeles. So they found the same man and woman and they did it. Very cool.
Good old.
They were also married to each other in real life. How you like that?
That's funny.
Very cool.
So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is the co-pilot in this film.
Yep.
Former student of Bruce Lee.
For sure, yeah. Red zone has always been for loading and unloading. There's never stopping in a white zone. Don't tell me which zone is for stopping, which zone is for loading.
I did the thing where I have the closed captions like super extra large again on accident.
Yeah. Did you?
Yes.
You can always adjust if you have to and then pop back in.
Let's see if I could. I should be able to do it on the fly here. Hopefully.
By the way, kids, this movie is very much product of its time, if you can't tell. I mean, we just had a dude take a metal arm off and put it on the But that's not what I was saying. It's the religious time when you have all these folks handing out flowers and pamphlets and stuff. It's like the Moonies and, you know, Jehovah's Witnesses and all that stuff. So they're very much capitalizing on that in this movie too.
I do love like Amazon's X-ray is really nice. Like
it is
down all of the different actors, even if they're just like character actors in scenes.
There's Robert Hayes, who shouldn't be flying a plane because he evidently can't drive a car. By the way, I don't want to blow it for everybody, but I'm pretty sure he leaves that dude there the entire film.
Yeah. I don't think there's ever a resolution on that.
Yeah. The infamous Zucker brothers. My God, those guys are freaking legends, dude.
Every time I think about like anything to do with like airport runways, I just think of like King of the Hill when he's got the turkey, the propane cooked turkey.
There's my backdrop. Yeah, continue. My bad.
Yeah, the propane cooked turkey. He's got it wrapped, and they have the bomb sniffing dogs come out for the turkey, and they blow the turkey up, and it flies all over the window.
There is the great Elaine played by the great Julie Haggerty. Julie Haggerty is a great comedic talent. She was born to be in comedies, Chris. That very innocent, dim-witted thing that she can really pull off. She's on that new Matlock series. She portrays Matlock's sister, and she's fantastic, by the way.
I've been wanting to check that out because I've heard it's really good.
Oh, dude. Nothing like what you expect. Nothing like what you expect. It's very, very good, actually. It doesn't hurt that the... I like how we have porn mags just right there for everybody to look at. Look, it says wacky material. I don't think I ever remembered that.
I always like the names of these mags.
Robert Graves.
That's a pretty funny one. Box Lunch.
Yes. Look, said no, the white phone.
Box Lunch reminds me, like in high school when you were like throwing out band names. One of the band names we came up with was a fuzz box, and the idea was going to be like a fuzz covered CD case with the double entendre.
Well done.
Like they beat me to it here in Airplane with Lunchbox as a magazine title. Yeah.
Captain Over. That'll come into play. Look on his desk.
Do they ever explain why he just has jars and jars of mayonnaise?
Not to my memory, no.
You don't really see that many like very slapstick comedies anymore in today's age. Like I can't, like you think of like your Young Frankensteins or Blazing Saddles or this, where you have like a lot of other gags happening besides just the dialogue. Like you don't really see that often anymore.
I think they're hard to pull off, honestly, because like it's like a comedy wrestler. Like if you don't have timing, if you're not sure of yourself, if you go out there half-hearted, if the jokes don't land, no one's going to care. I think slapstick movies are not the easiest things to do.
Like in that scene that we just saw where they're loading up the stretcher, I'm pretty sure that it's a bottle of vodka like hooked to the IV, just kind of like in the background.
That's great. You know what kind of sucks about watching this in real time? We miss all the jokes because like it's rapid fire.
Well, I'm kind of eagle-eyeing it because, like I said, I've only seen this all the way through probably once or twice. So it's
Elaine
been
is
a long time.
Elaine is already referencing Ted Stryker's past issues, but we don't find out what they are until Ted begins telling his story. And buddy, when he does, look out. This airline is Trans-American, I think. I know he pulled his punch, but God, that looked good. You know what I mean? Pow! That was awesome.
So this movie is rated PG, by the way.
How?
I don't know. We already saw boobs like 10 minutes in on the news.
Yeah, and we see him again live and in living color. Look at the guy with the windshield. You know what? That's Jimmy Walker from Good Times, isn't it?
Let's see. X-ray. Yeah.
I swear I think that's Jimmy Walker.
I think he's like checking the oil.
Yeah. Can't get the hood shut. And he's sitting on it. Oh, and he fell. Kids, if you're still with us, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar just walked into the cockpit. Oh, hi, Roger. Glad to have you aboard. Victor, this is Roger Murdoch. Hey, dear Roger. Nice to meet you. And there's the other guy. Look, the captain's swiping his credit card. That old-fashioned credit card swipe.
Trans-American Airlines are no longer in business, right? Am I crazy on that?
I'm going to be honest with you. I actually thought it was a gag for the movie. I didn't think it was a real airline. Was it?
But you have Trans-International Airlines.
Uh-huh.
Call sign is Trans-America.
Oh.
Parent
I'm sure.
1968 to 1986. So this doesn't matter. It's not relevant to the film at all.
Sure. But it's
just
fine.
Curious. Ceased operations in September of 1986.
That was Jimmy Walker as the windshield wiper man, by the way. There's that smoking boarding pass. Dramatic music. Look how they're getting on the plane.
Yeah, so you don't see that that often anymore. But when I was living in New Jersey, I was flying back and forth every other week. In the plane from Atlanta to New York, you loaded like that. It was a smaller plane, which is one by one row. So you would load on one of those. It was always like kind of nerve wracking because you're like, is this thing just going to fall out of the air once we get going? But yeah, you don't see that very often unless you're flying somewhere like kind of like Newport News, for instance, is a fairly smaller airport, so they send some smaller planes through like that.
By the way, kids, this is Norman Alexander and Al White as the first and second Jive dudes. I didn't write that. You know, I guess if you want to take offense to this, you could, but I don't think they're doing anything. Of course, I'm the white guy. Maybe we shouldn't take the white guy's opinion for that, but it's funny how he's already seen Elaine, but now he sees her as if he's never seen her.
Why is he getting on the the plot premise of this? Why is he getting on the plane again? Did I miss that?
So he's all right. So let's see. She broke off the relationship with him before the flight from LA to Chicago. He got on the plane to win her back.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So I'm following.
No, I've been nervous lots of times. There's where the double entendre of words comes into effect.
You see what I mean about this? Like glass, like IV. What is?
Yeah. And I think that's the kid from the Love Boat. Captain Stubing's youngest daughter. Pretty sure that's her. Look at this. It's like they're at the train station. Yep, look. There's the conductor. Better get on board, son. Come on.
209er.
This thing's going to roll with him and that door open, isn't it? Yep.
Do you ever see the Where the Buffalo Roam, the Bill Murray portrayal of Hunter S. Thompson?
I have never seen that. How is it?
It's pretty good. There's one scene where he's like in the hospital and he's got the IV thing with Wild Turkey hooked up to it and a straw like running down where the IV would be. Every time I see that kid, that's what I think is going on, but I'm pretty sure that's not the case.
That's funny. Huh? Huh? Every time he says Roger. It's such a stupid gag, but it's so effective. Roger, what's our vector, Victor? That's fun. I don't care who you are. That's fun. Huh? Why is that so funny? By the way, a gag that ages extremely well is the who's on first bit with Abbott Costello. It is, it ages so well. It's this, like you can't, it'll lose you halfway through. They are phenomenal, man. Some of these bits hold up. It doesn't matter what year it is, man.
Yeah, I mean that bit was like, that's exactly what I was about to say. Is this is the who's on first bit, but just using actual names.
Yeah, I haven't flown for a long time. God, that plane's moving. My God. And the nun's reading Boy's Life. That's nice. Insert your joke here. And the boy's reading Nun's Life. And she's on a surfboard. Look at all the belongings in the overhead. They're not behind doors or anything. They're just shoved up there. That's great. Famous Jewish sports legends. They just fit together. I guess it's because I've seen this movie my whole life. But if you saw those two in real life, you just assume they're a couple because they just look like they fit together.
I could see that. Like if they were actually brother and sister and eating at a restaurant, you would assume that they were a couple.
Oh, yeah.
They're one of those.
Oh, my God, this old lady. Firm thighs. Shame you two don't get along. I think Grandma's sexing up his ex-girlfriend.
For whatever reason, that just made me think of Beavis and Butthead Do America, that where they're sitting next to the old lady. It's just like, tons of slots in Las Vegas.
I got some slots here too. All right. Yeah. We did. That's in the archives, kids. Go check out that. We reviewed that movie. Oh, this is a great flashback. The Magumba Bar. Look at him. It's worse than Detroit. Oh my God, look. Oh, I remember this.
Just two Girl Scouts duking it out.
She attempted to fix her dress, I just noticed.
Yes.
Or like her top. Like, you're a stuntman. You don't want to do that. What are you doing?
They both were having near wardrobe malfunctions on that that scene there.
God, that's a good looking punch, buddy. Oh, classic moment. Head in the jukebox. And of course, what's at play?
Cue the Bee Gees.
Cue the Bee Gees. Look at this guy. Is it very high pitched for you, almost as if it's not them singing?
I have it fairly low, so it sounds normal to me, but
it sounds very high pitched. First time he saw Elaine. Let's get to it. There she is.
I wonder if it has a little bit of the Alvin and Chipmunks, like where you speed up a record or a vinyl.
It could.
Because it sounds faster than the original. Because they're trying to get through the scene.
Here's a nice little tidbit. Aero Mexico. Didn't know that was a flight or a airline. Aero Mexico was the only airline to buy this movie for their in-flight entertainment. That's wonderful.
Better than the Twilight Zone, I guess.
Oh, dude, yeah. Man, that Twilight Zone movie. Who was it in the airplane? Was Lithgow, wasn't it, in the airplane?
I believe so, yeah. John
Dude,
Lithgow.
that haunted me for years. When he opens it up at that one point and that thing's shaking the finger at him, I said, "Oh my freaking God, I'm dead!" Like, kill me now, man. You know me, I don't do the horror too much.
Yes, it was John Lithgow. So. Yeah, that one still sticks with you, and you see it. That's something that has been spoofed many times as well over the years.
Yeah, it's the makeup job was very well done. Of course, we're doing the Saturday Night Fever here thing, and I love how the scallywags and ne'er-do-wells and thieves and cooks and criminals
very much a lot of
they're all dancing along.
Very much feels like it definitely feels a lot like a Mel Brooks film.
It does, actually, yeah. Look. By the way, no explanation for the smoke, of course. Zero explanation for all the smoke. All the fog.
Like he's the one that decides to go for the spin here. Just random machine gun sound effects.
Yeah. Kids, they're still dancing on the floor if you're still following us. Now he's doing that Russian dance. I'm sure this is called something, but I don't know what it's called.
The Zangief dance from Street Fighter 2.
Is that what it is?
No, but he does. He beat the game with Zangief. He does the dance with whoever the leader of Russia was at the time.
I see the Girl Scouts are still fighting in the background. Disco ball doesn't spin forever, kids. Eventually, party comes to an end. Waiting on something to happen, right?
Yeah.
And
all the guys just sweeping around the sawdust, and you can clearly see it's just a soundstage. Like,
we see the first casualty of Ted's stories. Ted is not a master storyteller, ladies and gentlemen. Steak and the fish. Kids, this comes into play heavily. Don't forget this. You have two options, the steak or the fish.
serving fish on a plane seems like a terrible idea.
Turns out it was.
Just, well, in general, like, even if everything went perfectly, you still have to deal with fish smell on low ventilation plane.
Yes. Oh, this is good. Little boy bringing little girl some coffee. So many little gags in here that you don't really know where they come from.
Wow.
By the way, kids, Staying Alive was sped up by 10% for the dance scene in the movie. Permission from the Bee Gees had to be obtained to speed it up.
Okay, so it was what I thought. So that, I mean, but that's also why your ears heard it more high pitched. It's the old Alvin and Chipmunks effect. Take any vinyl, speed it up. Sounds like Alvin and the Chipmunks.
True.
Really funny with something like Iron Man.
Yeah. I used to do that as a kid too. I would put. Suddenly the Mick Jagger, Michael Jackson record, State of Shock, just jumped into my head because I would put that vinyl. I put that vinyl on fast. Why that just popped in there, I have no idea.
I used to love those storybook vinyls.
I did too.
Do you remember you did like the book and it came with like a little 45?
Little 45.
And then you would like, they had pretty much anything you can think of. I had like the Gremlins ones. They were broken into 5 parts. That was cool.
Yeah.
I think I talked about that during the Gremlins episode. Actually.
We did actually.
But yeah, I wish they would bring those back. That'd be something as an adult I would like to have.
Yeah, same. You can go buy your childhood on eBay, man. If you got the money, they got the time.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have like a real, like for popular things like the Gremlins or whatever, to have some re-releases of those that are like in really nice condition.
By the way,
I still have some of my old ones.
Really? Mine are all gone, man. I wish I still had them. You ever made it out on the beach there, Chris? Have you? Covered in seaweed. Look at that. There's live fish beside their head. I've never seen that before. That was great.
Was that old joke? There is a woman lying on the bed, the beach with no arms, no legs. She's like dying, and she says, "I just, can you grant me one wish? Will you screw me?" And the guy picks her up and throws her in the ocean and goes, "There, you're screwed."
You're screwed. Yeah. I got some of those deserted island jokes. I got one that's not bad, but it's probably been told so many times it's lost its humor years ago. Oh, Joey, you're gonna regret coming up here, my boy. Captain gives him a plane. You ever been in a cockpit before? Pay attention, kids. You ever seen a grown man naked? You want me to check the weather, Cap? No, why don't you take care of it? Joey, do you ever hang around a gymnasium? And that kid never pays him any attention. And Elaine's like, we need to get you out of here.
It's getting really weird. I don't remember this at all.
Yes. Kid never notices a thing. Now, this is great. This is legendary. God. Terry old man to drag Walton Lanier up and down the court for 48 minutes. That's wonderful. You like movies about gladiators. He won't stop.
It's creepy, dude.
It's very creepy. I think that's the last one. If that means anything to anybody, I think that was the last one. I love how Kareem was just undercover, pretending to not be himself. That's a great bit.
I really wish they wouldn't have canceled Winning Time. I was really enjoying that.
Oh, same. We did Phil Lindsay, and I shout out Phil Lindsay. We did a 6M on that, and it was after they announced it. And we're like, God, we were so bummed, you know?
Yeah.
Such a good show.
I feel like they announced it like 2 episodes into season 2 that they weren't going to be doing anymore, and I was just like, well, then there's no sense of me watching the rest of this.
Well, they reshot by the way, the entire last episode they reshot the finale, like the last few moments. It doesn't fit. Of course, it doesn't fit. They were trying to find a way to wrap it up because they were told they were canceled. So they just last minute went in and it didn't help it at all. There's the flashback, kids.
I don't know if they
It's all
took this at
available.
all, but I've been rewatching South Park here and there while I'm doing other things, and there's that episode where the shop teacher keeps having the flashbacks of his wife flying in the plane and crashing, and it's very similar. It's very similar to these flashbacks.
It's got to be inspired. It's got to be inspired. Wait. That's not important right now. They do that all through the movie. Hospital, what is it? It's a big building with patients and doctors, but that's not important right now. Lieutenant Zip. Her reaction where she just like that and it goes right back to talking is great.
I like the painting he's painting is like him carrying a baby with one leg behind his back, firing.
Wait for it. Take 5. Oh. Captain Jolene thinks he's a pilot still fighting the war. That is a stand-up comic from back in the day. He had his own sitcom with a bunch of kids on it. Can't remember his name. What's his problem? Lieutenant Hurwitz. Severe shell shock. He thinks he's Ethel Merman. I don't know why it's so funny to me. I've always loved that bit. He thinks he's Ethel Merman. These jokes, there's no complexity to these jokes, man. They're very, very simple. But like, to your earlier question, I think it's just hard. Like, it doesn't look hard. But, you know, I've seen plenty of slapsticky kind of movies. Like, that crew that did all the rip-off of the Scream movies and they did the comic book parody. Like, basically, whenever a movie got big, they do a parody of it. And it usually had the same little core of actors in it. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the Wayans brothers doing the Scary Movie franchise. Is that?
Dude, it's not for me. It's like, for me, a lot of those jokes aren't landing. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, I get there's an audience for it, but I think that's a good example of sometimes this stuff doesn't land, man.
There was like a little comeback there where they were doing those parody movies, like Scary Movie, and then like Not Another Teen Movie was one. Like all of those kind of came out from like, let's say 2000 to 2010. There was a big. But see, those still I wouldn't. Those don't feel like this or like a Mel Brooks movie.
Mm-hmm.
The Ethel Merman joke is weird because even at like by this time she hadn't really done anything recent. She dies in 1984, so like they're doing riffs on like There's No Business Like Show Business and Call Me Madam, and it's a mad world. Like obviously was in a ton of things, but like thinking about the audience and the joke itself, it's kind of funny that was what they chose to go with.
No explanation for that guy hanging upside down. By the way, it's made 1980, but it feels like it wasn't supposed to be 1980. They're all very much still wearing 70s clothes, which I guess was kind of the point. You know what I mean? One of those monks or slash Moonies was David Leisure, kids, by the way, if you don't know him. He had a fairly successful career in the 80s in sitcom work. He was also on those Isuzu commercials. Look at the mom. She's all into it. This kid ain't gonna make it, folks. Plane's pretty happy. They're like, hey, she's really good. My wife was getting ready. We were going to go somewhere one evening. And the bit happens in a little while where Nielsen comes in and he goes, I just want to tell you both good luck. We're all counting on you. So I open the door and I go, I just want to tell you good luck. We're all counting on you. And I shut the door and I waited like 5-10 minutes and I came back and did it again. By the third time, she is furious with me. All right. Furious. I'm like, you know what sucks is you don't get this joke. I should be furious with you, you know. Remember how I said not a lot of this ages poorly? I was wrong. Something here doesn't age very well.
Still not as bad as Ace Ventura: Pet Detective 2.
Yeah. Look, she's introducing the tribe to Tupperware.
Supperware.
My mom had so much Tupperware when I was a kid, dude. Every kitchen cabinet we had was full of Tupperware.
So I think I was at the tail end of when people would still throw Tupperware parties as a kid, because I remember like those being hosted. My grandma used to sell like, what is it, home interior, or God, I can't remember the name of the product. Basically, it was like little doodads for your house, like these little tiny glass vases. And
yeah,
she would do that and host those parties, and then they would like co-host those with people slinging Tupperware or Mary Kay.
Avon.
Yeah, you don't see as much of that today, but that was that was still a thing even in the 90s where people were throwing these parties.
Yeah.
Pyramid schemes to try to get your friends to buy Avon or Tupperware.
You talking about how much money this movie made, by the way? The first 2 days of the movie's gross covered its entire production budget. The first 2 days, they covered their budget.
It was crazy seeing just how, like, when that popped up, that it was 170 million.
Wait, this is when the drinking problem started. I love that gag. I don't know why I love it so much. Uh-oh. Look, wait for it. Oh! And we know that actor. I can't remember his name, but he's been in everything. He's still working, still acting today. James Hong. Still going, kids.
I haven't felt this awful since I saw that Reagan film.
Airsick? Oh, God, Joey's back. Oh, crap. Been in a Turkish prison? That's the only one I forgot. Was a Turkish prison. Wait. The best bit's when he goes back and looks. Wait. And then does it again. That's the best part. He has to look at her and then do it again. Jim never. She's like wondering what's wrong with her husband. I think the man sitting next to me is a doctor. Wait for it. He's just Leslie Nielsen, that great deadpan. Yes, I am.
I like there's no explanation of why he's just sitting there wearing the stethoscope.
You don't need an explanation. Oh, this is such a great gag. You know what makes this work is that he's so obviously palming it like a magician would.
Yeah.
That's funny to me that they're not even trying to hide it. That's the best part of the bit. It's obviously a gag, but they just lean into it. Wait. Oh, that's wonderful.
What is it? It's a big building with patients.
Great. By the way, we never announced his name. That's Frank Ashmore as flight engineer Victor Basta. Victor's not faring too well, kids.
Yeah.
Look, Kareem's like, oh, crap. I'm not feeling great.
Yeah. It's funny that they name drop Dramamine. That stuff does work pretty good.
It's awesome.
If you get like seasick or car sick.
I get all those things, and it's like a miracle salve from my system. Keeps me from painting the car, the ship, the plane, and the room with everything I ate for the past month.
I do okay on planes. Boats, not so much.
Yeah, I have to have it for everything. I can't fly, sail, drive. I just forget it. Look, he's got his goggles on out of nowhere. Look, wait for it. Look. For no good reason. Oh, that's great. I like how you never see the back end of the plane because some dude's moving it with a stick. So you can't show the whole thing. You just show the front part of it, you know. The Anita Bryant concert. I like how she's dragging him through the plane.
Through the aisle, yeah.
No one sees it. They're like, oh, the captain's speaking. Let's look out the windows. There is some great old school headphones. They don't look very comfortable, but they look awesome.
They've started remaking like vintage airplane headphones as over the ear, like high def headphones recently. I've seen a lot.
That's cool. I've seen those too. I like them a lot. you never want the other person to go, you know. That's never good. By the way, Leslie Nielsen was thrilled to get this role. He was tired of having to play the elderly grandfather all the time. But the studio originally wanted Dom DeLuise as the doctor.
That would have been great.
Which would have been great, but I'm glad Nielsen got it.
It would have been it would have been a completely different movie.
Yeah, for sure.
Not in a bad way. It would have just been completely different.
I like how Captain Over is displaying everything that Leslie Nielsen. Oh my God.
It wouldn't be a podcast with me and you if Dom DeLuise didn't come up. And
that's fair.
I referenced the fact that we still need to do Cannonball Run.
That's very fair. There's a gratuitous shot of breast number 2. There's a third one coming, kids.
I like the no sex sign underneath the no smoking.
But if your rows 1 through 12, you're good. But 13 through 51, don't do it. Oh, the infamous automatic pilot. This will definitely come into play later. My God. Here's a good one. In a 2008 interview on the talk show Today, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar told the story of being on a European flight and was asked to sit in an empty seat in the cockpit during takeoff so the crew could say they flew with Roger Murdoch. Wonderful. I hope he did it. That's wonderful. They're like, Kareem, yeah, basketball, yeah. Could you sit up here so you could say we flew with Roger Murdoch? That's great. Oh, my God. Here we go. Now we're talking. Lloyd Bridges. We don't get the dude without Lloyd Bridges, kids. There's the Siamese twins.
Just for no reason.
Wait, the wrong way to quit smoking. That joke keeps going, too.
Good old Marlboro Reds.
And the guy walking behind him is like the best part of this movie. He's got all the best lines in the tower. He's fantastic. And I'm trying to find his name. Find me his name. I used to know that actor. Well, she's got to bring the automatic pilot back to life. So, kids, look, things are about to get weird in this PG-rated film. So get ready, all right? I warned you. If you haven't seen it, you have been warned. The doctor's delivering a baby. Yep. It's that. Wait. Oh, Nielsen's reaction is great. Oh, wonderful. Oh, classic.
I like the inflatable pilot also has a cigarette.
Yes. Which makes a lot of sense, right? I got to get the name of the guy in the... Oh, it's Steven Stucker is air traffic controller Johnny Henshaw Jacobs. He's the one that's got all the best lines. He was also in the Kentucky Fried Movie. Now, there's an irreverent flick if I've ever seen one. Ted's drinking problem's still going on. So if you're a fan of Mythbusters, Chris, they've been off air for a while, but they did an episode where they each one had to take a turn actually trying to, not a real plane, but a simulator, trying to see if they could fly it with just a guy from a tower talking them through it. And they threw him through worst case scenarios of everything's failing, right?
Right.
And at the time, it was said on the show that this had never happened before, ever in the history of aviation. Did a passenger have to take over a flight because the pilots were incapacitated? Wait for it. And there we go. The passengers were just informed that they were out of coffee, kids, by the way, which makes me take my top off, I'll tell you. Oh, look at the car. I forgot about the car. Dude, I've that's my dream car, buddy. Always has been.
Did you notice that the nun and the monk immediately start choking each other?
Of course. They're waiting on bad news so they can start acting out. I'm telling you. But yeah, supposedly today's planes have such tech in them that, like, if someone had to come from the back, they could be, there's so much going on that the plane's automatic. They would barely have to, they'd maybe touch 3 buttons, you'd be good. It would have to be a catastrophic failure of like epic proportions for a plane to go down, which we know it can happen, but still.
I think the biggest thing would be landing, right? Like,
yeah. But even then, like, supposedly there's so much tech in today's planes that unless you were landing in a cornfield or something, which is possible, I guess. Even then, if you had someone in your ear, they could guide you through it. But the
Did you ever
great
hear
Robert
the story
Stack.
of like the Gimli glider, where when Canada switched to the metric system, their plane switched over and they miscalculated. These two pilots miscalculated like how much fuel they needed to get where they're going.
No.
And they had to glide this plane basically out of fuel and land in the middle of a racetrack. But it's a pretty crazy story. If you can find it, I think Kevin Smith on the Smodcast, this is years ago, did a retelling of it with Scott Mosier that was pretty
Oh, that's cool. Look at this guy next to Ted. The cockpit, what is it? It's the little room in the front of the plane where the pilot sit, but that's not important right now.
Yeah, Air Canada Flight 143.
Oh,
was the Gimli glider.
look at this guy. Go. I like how he exploded. He didn't burst into flames. He exploded. I just realized they have a Jesus on their dash. I hadn't noticed it till just now. And don't call me Shirley. How many times in your life have you heard that?
A lot.
A lot.
But there's a good amount of that in this movie, like quotes.
Yeah. All together. That's such an awkward gag, right? It's all together. It's a different kind of flying. All together. So for the scene early on in the film, I missed this, when the Boeing comes crashing through the large windows inside the terminal, the producer, John Davison, says he received numerous letters from various pilots telling him that they had come very close to reenacting that very scene in real life, with some pilots admitting that they had come so close as to touch the glass with the nose of their plane. Crazy. Look, there's the guy.
I like the fair is still running.
Yeah. Robert Stack's on the way, kids. Another very dramatic, very serious actor for his time, but also doing comedy, and he's fantastic. When he comes to the airport, it's freaking great.
Apparently, we have to find someone who didn't eat the fish. The entire setup is from Zero.
There you go.
Like, it's all completely lifted, which is funny. And Zaz is the primary writer of the script.
Oh, God, I love this movie.
Also, some trivia here. Nilsson, well, not trivia really, but fun fact, I guess. Nilsson brought a whoopee cushion into his audition to lighten the mood.
You know, he had one of the machines that made it sound like you were passing gas, like the little handheld thing.
Yeah.
And he was on Conan, I think, doing a straight, and he would just randomly hit the button as he moved around. And he told Conan he's like, it's the best, it's the funniest thing ever invented. And he proved it and it is, everyone's rolling because he never breaks character the whole time. Look how fast the car is going, by the way.
So the inflatable autopilot almost caused the film to get an R rating.
Oh.
But it still somehow got a PG rating, which is kind of funny.
So
it's funny that there was no PG-13 back then.
Yeah, no, that I remember when it came along because I'm that old. So the breast didn't put it over the top, but the autopilot almost did.
The blowjob gag almost did, apparently.
Wow. They're like, look, do you want to show some hoo-ha? That's fine. We're okay with that. But you can't simulate on a blow-up doll. And you're like, wait a minute, but this is a woman's real Okay.
And something I didn't notice, I like anytime I've seen parts of this movie or the movie itself, is that every time they go to the airplane exterior shots, there is it's just a propeller plane for the sound effects as opposed to a modern plane.
That's great. Return to seat. Go back and sit Donna. Sit Donna, God almighty. That's the Russian New Year. We'll have a big parade. We'll serve hors d'oeuvres. I love that guy.
So this movie is in the U.S. Library of Congress National Film Registry.
Not surprised.
It was inducted in 2010. So if you want a free rental copy, you can rent that from the National Film Registry.
That's pretty awesome. This was taken basically from 0 Hour as well.
That's the next movie we need to do is watch this film. Is so straight laced.
Crowbar, bat, gun. Robert Stack is the king. Watch this crap, man.
Juice for Jesus.
God, that was great. How old is he doing that? Oh, man. I'd forgotten what a bad dude he is, man. Oh, my God, that's wonderful. Oh. It's a bad day to stop drinking. I had a buddy I grew up with that we quoted these lines back and forth to each other. Constantly. Like, you know, it's a bad day to stop methamphetamines. That one's coming.
So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was paid $30,000 for this movie, and he just used that money to buy an Oriental rug.
Well, Kareem's a very deep guy. He probably meditated on that rug, too.
We kind of missed it already, but for those who go back and watch this later, I guess, or if you watch it again later, Tom, when the jet takes off, you can see the shadow of a propeller plane, which is apparently lifted directly from 0 Hour.
That's wonderful. Wait. Lloyd Bridges knew to go like that. Look how the plane goes into chaos when only one pilot. My God. Right?
I like that This woman's still trying to put on makeup. I don't know why
Here's a-
that got me.
Here's a great moment. Finally got a shot of the whole plane. So silly. So to get the movie greenlit by Paramount, the directors had to sell this movie as National Lampoon's Animal House on a Plane, which of course was far from the truth, but was the only way they could get the studio executives to understand it was a zany comedy. I could totally imagine old stuffy white guys in suits not understanding what a comedy is.
Yeah, I could see. I mean, I could see that as well. But I mean, I guess it's easy to be like, give them some comparison, even if it's not. It's like people loved Animal House. We'll just tell them it's Animal House.
Yeah. Wait. Oops. Oh, the Jive guys are here. Kids, it's about to get weird again.
Well, it's like the pitch for Star Trek originally was Wagon Train, but in space.
That's great.
That's how Gene Roddenberry pitched it to Lucy.
By the way, here's Barbara Billingsley, legendary actress, even at this time. And she did some, well, jive talking. God almighty. Can we note those two gentlemen are the two best looking guys on the plane? Can we just say that? The best well dressed, aren't they? Oh, wait, look. Johnny's great. Oh my God, dude.
The horse.
That is a real horse. Again, PG rated. I'm just saying.
You know that they had a laugh track on this movie originally
Oh, what a terrible idea that would have been.
to basically be a guide to some of the gags because they come so fast paced. That would have been awful.
Terrible.
Apparently, all of Ted Stryker's PTSD flashbacks were based on serious war dramas, specifically scenes from Here to Eternity, The Bridge on the River Kwai, and Dr. Zhivago.
Wow.
So, if you're a big film fan and know all of those films very well, you could probably tie them back.
Yeah.
I think I've seen Bridge on the River Kwai like once. So,
Yeah, I've seen it once, maybe. That guy's been in everything. You saw him. That was Jonathan Banks as Gunnarsson. Oh my God, dude. Johnny, how about some more coffee? No thanks. There was a lot happening just now when he spoke. Did you see what one of the microphones was?
No, I must have missed.
It was like a sex toy of some kind. Again, PG.
Yeah.
I never knew this film was PG. I mean, I suspect it wouldn't have hurt their rating, you think? Because I don't imagine anybody was taking their kids to see. This didn't look like a kid's movie anyway. Even now, it doesn't look like a kid's movie.
Well, it makes me curious, like, what was Animal House's rating?
That has to be R, right?
Well, I mean, I think some of the gags on this are more risque than Animal House. But I would assume that it was rated. Yeah, it's rated R.
Yeah.
Apparently, when they pitched the movie, they also included a copy of 0 Hour.
Jeez,
So
boy,
when they pitched the script, they would include a copy of 0 Hour.
Man, they leaned all the way into it, didn't they? Watch this guy. God, cocaine use gets PG. And don't call me Shirley. God in heaven. The sound effect of him throwing up was wonderful.
Yeah.
That's great. You know, I think some of the best comedies, you mentioned Mel Brooks a couple of times, like when white people interact with black people are the worst. They're the clowns. And they did that just now. That nun was not meant to be funny. That was meant to be, look, it's a dumb white person, everybody. Right. Like, I think that's when it works, man. You know what I mean?
Just the sound effect when they cut outside of the plane, by the way, of the propeller plane. So that's legit.
I don't know that I've ever noticed that, but now I can hear it. It makes sense. God.
Yeah, now I'm never going to be able to unhear it is the problem.
Yeah. Well, as a kid, I don't know what a plane sounds like. How would I know, right?
It's just I've never thought about it.
No, never. Your Stryker flashback into all the heinous crap he did. Even the first flights were his fault. Look. It's all my fault. Rats, he says. You know, part 2 is good, but like they just mimic the. Oh my God. They just mimicked the plot from this movie, except they twisted a couple of places. But the thing between him and her, they just mimicked it again. Ted's like, I'm out. I can't do this. I'm getting out of here.
Did you ever see Top Secret?
I love Top Secret. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer.
Right.
I haven't seen in a long time.
Yeah, me either. I remember really liking it though.
Oh, I love that guy.
It's by the same creators.
Yes, it is, actually. You're right.
Think about it. His
God.
drinking problem.
By the way, Ted Stryker in real life, Robert Hayes is an actual pilot. I'd like to be in a plane with him and go, wait a minute, don't I know you from somewhere? Oh, that's great.
This is going to make me go down a deep rabbit hole of watching some of these parody films that I haven't seen, like Loaded Weapon.
Oh, I've seen Loaded Weapon. Emilio Estevez and
Samuel L. Jackson.
it is Sam Jackson. How did I forget it was Sam Jackson? But he wasn't
Yeah.
Sam Jackson yet.
Some recommendations they threw out there were Loaded Weapon 1, Spy Hard, and The Wrongfully Accused, which Wrongfully Accused is also Leslie Nielsen.
Yes, it is.
Spoof on The Fugitive.
Mm-hmm. Not such a great flick.
It also threw out Black Dynamite, but I feel like that's its own thing.
I think that's its own thing. Yeah.
I love Black Dynamite.
The Doc's pep talk got him back up to the cockpit, kids.
Black Dynamite. I sell drugs to the community.
By the way, I don't know if I knew this, but these guys were not behind the sequel to this movie. Someone else did that. How did I know that?
I honestly didn't know that there was a sequel to this movie.
Yeah, it's not terrible. You've committed. You already said it. Yeah, they felt that they'd exhausted every airport gag with this movie. I'd have to agree with that. Wait. By the way, most of Johnny's lines were ad-libbed. That even makes it funnier, I'm telling you. Oh, wonderful.
So because Paramount owned the rights, they're the ones who went through the sequel. The original creators didn't want to do the sequel, like you were saying. They figured they'd already hit all the jokes.
Mm-hmm.
So leave it to Paramount Pictures.
Who did part 2?
Let's see, find that out for you right now. Ken Finkelman.
Ken Finkelman.
Who did The Newsroom in Grease 2.
That sounds like a made-up name.
Well, Grease 2 is awful. So
I'm sorry. I'm not a fan of Grease 1. I'm just saying. It's not for me.
he did The Newsroom, which is like kind of like a mockumentary, a Canadian mockumentary. Have you ever seen that?
Yeah, that first part, like all the dudes are like 31 and they're playing 17-year-old kids. All right. Wait. Sure. And plus, it's a very date rapey movie. Grease is. You know what I mean? Very
I don't know if I'd call it date rapey.
Dude, it's basically like, well, she's not going to do it, but I'm going to make her do it because she's going to do it for me because, all right. When she feels pressure to do it. Oh, there's a guy that doesn't age well.
Israel Airlines.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
And well, Grease 2 is even worse. So,
oh, is it?
Airplane 2 is anything like Grease 2? Well, not in the sense of it being date rapey, but
oh, okay.
The plot itself is like he wants to learn how to ride a motorcycle. So, like 30 minutes of the movie is him riding around the field on an old Harley trying to learn how to ride a motorcycle. Also, the music's not as good as Grease 1. It's that's a very skippable flick. But it was written by the same person who wrote and directed Airplane 2. So, if that says anything about that guy's credibility, then I probably don't have to see Airplane 2, I would think.
I would think not. It's not. They go in space in Airplane 2. It's not terrible, but it's not this. Like
the Airplane 3, it's the Jason X crossover.
Yeah, like again, man. Like I think you gotta have the right creators, the right script, the right jokes, and it's got to be. I just think this is hard to do. I feel like this is hard to do.
Comedy sequels they generally aren't great to begin with. Like I can't think of a great comedy sequel.
God, like we did all 3 Hangover films on the 6M, and 2 and 3 is just absolutely like you could remove part 2, and you wouldn't need it. You could have just done, if you had to do one, just watch part 1 and then watch part 3. You never need part 2.
Yeah, I would just say you just need the first one.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
by the way, there was that bit just now that I was talking about earlier.
So
good luck. We're all counting on it.
Yeah, I picked the wrong week to stop smoking bit that he changes throughout the film. Apparently those lines are ad-libbed, but because it did so well with test audiences, they just let him do a bunch of different ones.
That's great.
The sound is going to kill me every time now.
I like the old-fashioned fire truck with the Dalmatian on the hood. Yeah, too quiet. Picked the wrong week to quit sniffing glue. Wait. Oh, love it. By the way, even Kareem's edition was, look at this. Oh my God, dude.
The laundry machine.
Yeah. There was a pro football player in 0 Hour. My God, I got to see 0 Hour now. Because they still assume crash positions. Oh.
Well, you'll get O.J. Simpson in Naked Gun, so they fall back on that a little bit in the Naked Gun.
Yeah, back when he was just O.J. Simpson.
Right.
Back before, he got away with murder. I'm sorry, he got away with murder.
I don't think you're going to hit that one at this point.
I don't know. People tend to argue everything, don't they?
Yeah.
There's still some nut jobs that believe we never landed on the moon. Yes, we landed on the moon. Friggin'
The way
wackadoodles.
you said that just made me think of Dumb and Dumber. What? We landed.
Yeah. No way. Yeah. You know, we've never done Dumb and Dumber, I don't think. That is a great. I don't think we have. Have we?
I don't know. That's definitely a movie that didn't need a sequel either.
Have we? Dude, I've done a lot of movies on this show.
Uh-oh.
Has it fought him yet? She's fighting me. Oh. Wait.
The sweat gap.
Arriving at gate 8. Gate 9. Gate 10. He says, pull on the lever, push a button. They're out of stuff to tell him. This movie only took 34 days to make.
That's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The phone booths were great. I didn't mean to talk over it. It just keeps getting funnier. According to Sir Christopher Lee, he was originally offered Leslie Nielsen's role and he turned it down. And he described it as a huge mistake.
I would say so.
Have a nice day. Thanks for flying.
If any of them got paid in royalties for this film, that definitely was a huge mistake. Because this movie, like I said, was on all the time.
Yeah, right. Stack's still talking.
Yeah, there's no one there.
There's that lady with the makeup. Did she have like clown rodeo makeup? Who has red and green makeup in their bag? What is she, the Joker? What's going on?
The hubcap.
Yeah.
Just randomly.
Not for nothing, but that's a terrible kiss. Oh. I like how the music got really bad and the high-pitched squealing singing. Wait. Yeah. God. And there you have it, kids.
They put Otto, the autopilot. He's in the credits, by the way, of this movie.
I love the font. The font makes it even better.
I never noticed the picture of him as the
Yeah,
exact-
dude, it's great. The great Peter Graves. Wait. Bam. And right back to talking. Oh, she's still funny, man.
Yeah. This movie was just as good as I remembered it. Like I said, I've seen it once. This is probably the first time in about 20 years. So
Wow. Such a
holds
classic.
up.
It does, doesn't it? I mean, there's a few little, but there's plenty of movies from this time frame that does not hold up. Like this one does, I feel like.
Like RoboCop 2.
RoboCop 2. We promise never to talk about that again.
This was a much more fun watch along.
By the way, don't quote me, but wasn't the 80s when this started happening? They didn't do this in the 70s, did they? I don't think. Maybe
What,
occasionally where they'd show the cast and show them as the movie went off. Maybe they did. I don't know.
I feel like you would see some of that even before this.
Randomly, maybe. Well, there you go, kids. By the way, even in the credits, they've played around with you a little bit, and they've included things like a guy who did a lot of stuff, and they'll just put random gags all through the credits. They did it even at the end of the film. So
Yeah. Like I said, you get Otto as a the man in Taxi, for instance.
yeah,
Cocaine lady.
Cocaine Lady.
Yeah, great film. Still holds up. You can see why this is always constantly in the top 100 comedies. Why it's in the National Registry. It's hilarious.
It is. Yeah, I love this movie. Well, kids, there you have it. There's the airplane with the exclamation mark. Not to be confused with 0 Hour, right?
Yeah, 0 Hour, the next film we do.
Well, supposedly they made this because they watched it. They had it on the background. The Zucker brothers did, and found it so unintentionally hilarious that they said, "We got to do this. Let's just make our own airplane movie." And that's how this was born. So apparently, it must be pretty cringe in terms of it being unintentionally funny.
Let's see. 0 Hour is only available to rent on Amazon currently. So if you're into 0 Hour, you're gonna have to pay $2.99.
Is it black and white? I'm guessing.
It is black and white.
Yeah,
It is the
1957.
exact same length as Airplane. It is 82 minutes.
Interesting.
I'm watching the trailer for that now. Yeah, this looks like a gem. I might have to watch this just in.
Compare, contrast.
Yeah, the trailer starts out with "Now you face the 0 Hour," and it has a clock ticking down.
God. All right, kids. Well, there you have it. It's another classic here on the 6M. You're welcome. We not only do stuff that you may enjoy, we not only do stuff that made a bunch of money, we also do stuff that didn't make hardly nothing because we like it. And sometimes we do stuff we don't really like because we can't get over how bad it is. But this is absolutely a classic. Hey, we did the Snyder films. That's what I was trying to get at. Oh, wait.
Mm.
I forgot all about the old guy at the end. That was wonderful. Well, I'll give him another 20 minutes, but that's it. That's great stuff. Yeah, as we said, kids, this is a classic. We hope you enjoyed it. Watch along with the film. I've actually used some of the audio commentary to watch along with the film just to see how, you know what I mean? I don't know why. It has nothing to do with the sound of my voice. It's just about the fun, we have on the show. So I enjoy doing it. So hopefully you guys will like it out there as well. Please check it out if you haven't done so yet. Like we said, just turn down the volume on the movie and just enjoy us because, we're funny and stuff. So why not? Chris, before we get out of here, let's get your last word on Airplane.
Great movie. I wish more of this kind of slapstickish humor nowadays. I think that, we're kind of missing it. Maybe we'll get some Spinal Tap that's coming out. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm here for that. I actually can't wait for that movie to come out. I don't know how you mess that up. I guess anything's possible. I shouldn't say that too loud. Something bad will happen. But I don't know. I just don't know how you mess it up. But we shall see. Kids, that's going to do it for us. Stay tuned for a lot more. There's always more to come. New episodes of the 6M every week. Don't miss it. We'll be back again real soon. Airplane 2 may or may not ever happen on this show. We'll see. I never say never.
I would say, if anything, we watch 0 Hour.
0 Hour might be one to do. And everybody I know would be like, what movie did you do on the 6M? What is this? Yeah. We shall see, kids. Just keep an eye out. Be sure to follow the show so you don't miss it. And we'll be back again real soon. But for now, that is Airplane. Hey, thanks for listening to the show. Check out our social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at 6M Podcast. We'll see you next time.